We're going to take you on an interesting historical tour today as we tell you about the life and accomplishments of the legendary Alexander the Great. This outstanding leader and ruler made a lasting impression on human history. We shall tell you about his birth in Macedonia in antiquity, his education under the renowned philosopher Aristotle, his conquest of nearly the whole known world during his lifetime, and his glorious demise. Alexander the Great. Chapter 1. Childhood and schooling on July 20 or 21. 356 BC. Alexander III of Macedon was born in Pella, the former capital of Macedonia. He was the son of Queen Olympia and King Philip II. Alexander showed courage and exceptional leadership abilities even as a young child. Philip invited the renowned philosopher Aristotle to tutor his son, and he accepted. Alexander learned a great deal about philosophy, science, literature, and the arts from Aristotle. During his early years, Aristotle instilled in him a profound reverence for Greek culture and ideas, which would have a significant impact on his future activities. By studying his father's military strategies and the way the army was run, Alexander also became knowledgeable about military matters. This event significantly influenced how the outstanding military leader of the future was shaped. Events like Philip II's assassination in 336 BC, which saw Alexander succeed to the throne of Macedonia at the age of 20, also characterized the early years. His early efforts were directed toward maintaining control and stifling any internal threats. Thus, Alexander, also known by his nickname, the Shrew, received an education and a start in life that prepared him for his subsequent successes in the military and in society. Chapter 2. Following his accession to the throne in 336 BC, King Philip II was assassinated, bringing sorrow to the Macedonian court. Alexander, at 20 years old, was thrown into the throne by an unforeseen sequence of circumstances. He was immediately confronted with internal discontent and possible uprisings, which presented both chances and challenges for him as he rose to power. Alexander quickly established his dominance and put an end to any resistance by combining cunning political maneuvers with the use of force when required. Eliminating any competitors was one of Alexander's first moves in establishing his authority as Macedonia's unquestioned ruler. The Macedonian nobles respected and remained loyal to him because of his firm leadership throughout this turbulent period. The youthful monarch's aspirations transcended Macedonia's boundaries, motivated by aspirations of victory and a wish to realize his father's unrealized ambitions. In 334 BC, Alexander conceived of a massive campaign that would extend the Macedonian Empire to an unparalleled eastern front. Chapter 3. Alexander set out on one of the most fabled military expeditions in history when he crossed the Hellespont into Asia Minor to conquer the East. He had to contend with King Darius III's formidable Persian Empire. As Alexander proceeded, the battles of Granicus, Issus, and Gamala demonstrated his strategic prowess and solidified his reputation as a military genius. Alexander came into contact with a variety of cultures and integrated Persian and regional traditions into his rule. The Macedonian flank, his army, was remarkably disciplined and cohesive. In Egypt, where he established the city of Alexandria as a symbol of his goal of blending cultures, the conquest proceeded. Alexander overcame obstacles and the resistance of his soldiers to cross the Hindu Kush and enter India, marking the culmination of the journey into the heart of the Persian Empire. His wins at the Battle of Hy-Asps proved how steadfast he was. His soldiers' dissatisfaction gradually grew due to the extent of his victories. Recognizing the weariness of his army, Alexander decided in 324 BC to reverse his course. His legacy was cemented in history with the founding of other cities bearing his name. Chapter 4. Located strategically on the Mediterranean coast of Egypt, Alexander created one of the most famous towns in history, Alexandria, in 331 BC. Alexandria developed into a thriving city and a hub for knowledge, trade, and culture. The Great Library of Alexandria, a symbol of intellectual prowess that held innumerable scrolls and drew intellectuals from all over the ancient world, was the most famous building in the city. Alexandria was also home to the Pharaohs of Alexandria, a tall lighthouse that led ships into the harbor securely. Beyond trade and education, Alexander's goal for Alexandria promoted cultural fusion and the mixing of Greek, Egyptian, Persian, and other cultures. Because of the city's success as a melting pot and its promotion of inclusion and variety, it is clear that he respected regional traditions. Alexander presented himself as a heavenly monarch by assimilating aspects of Egyptian phonic traditions. With its magnificence and international vibe, Alexandria came to represent Alexander's heritage and shaped future centuries' events. Chapter 5. Legacy and Death. Alexander's life ended suddenly and mysteriously in Babylon in 323 BC. At the age of 32. Whatever the circumstances, the precise cause of his death is still a historical mystery, with ideas ranging from poisoning to natural causes. After Alexander's death, his vast empire faced an inheritance crisis. His generals, known as Dyakites, divided the territory among themselves, resulting in a fragmented Hellenistic world. Alexander's conquests continued with the creation of numerous successor states, each of which carried some of his cultural and military influence. Alexander's death marked the end of an era and set off a series of events that shaped the course of history. The expansion of Hellenistic culture, also known as the Hellenistic era, is arguably Alexander's most enduring legacy. The Greek language, art, philosophy, and architecture all gained traction well beyond his empire, and Alexandria grew as a hub for knowledge and cross-cultural exchange. Alexander's magnetic personality also served as an inspiration for conquerors and leaders throughout history. For centuries, military leaders, such as Julius Caesar and Napoleon Bonaparte, have studied and respected his military techniques and tactics.